I want you to take 5 seconds to look at this picture. I don't care what you thought about that picture. What's important is that you understand that I am serious about this video. I do not expect you to know everything about trees. I don't either. But I do expect you to know what trees do and what they mean for this planet. When we think of nature, we often think about trees, and it makes sense. Trees are among the most common plants on Earth. I would describe a tree as being a plant with a thick wooden trunk with branches that have leaves on them. Of course, that's just one description of a tree. There are many different trees out there which look completely different from each other. But they're all trees, and there are estimated about 3 trillion trees on this planet, with about 73,000 unique species of trees. Between the Arctic tundra up north and the Antarctic down south, you can find trees pretty much anywhere on the planet with a few exceptions. They are the largest species of plants out there. They can grow over 100 meters tall, and some live for thousands of years. The trees are one of, if not the most important living organisms on the planet. And that is what I want to talk about. I think many of you know this, but trees are the main producers of oxygen, something we need in order to live. Using photosynthesis, they turn carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is released into the air for us to breathe. This itself is important, but there are some other things trees do as well. When it rains in a forest, the trees act as a shield that reduces the damage as raindrops do when they hit the ground. When the water does reach the ground, it is soaked up through the tree's roots, slowing the flow of water. In some ways, the forest is like a sponge, soaking up the water and holding on to it. The forest provides shelter for many different animals and insects and other organisms. Birds, squirrels, monkeys, ants, beetles, spiders. There are about 2.3 million species on this planet that live among the trees, and I think humans are on that list as well. For thousands of years, humans have harvested resources from trees. Wood is perhaps the most important resource we get from trees. It is used as a building material for houses, bridges, fences, doors, and furniture. There are other uses for wood like making paper, and some tools use wooden shafts. But the point that I'm trying to make is that wood is one of the most important materials in human history. If you were to pause the video right now and look around you, you would probably find something made of wood. We use wood for a lot of things. However, the thing is that in order to get the wood, we need to cut down the trees. And over the past 100 years, more and more trees have been cut down. It's not just so that we can get wood from the trees, but it also is to make space for building roads and houses. As a result, forests around the world have shrunk dramatically in size over the past 100 years. I mean, look at the Amazon. You can really see a difference to how it looked like 50 years ago compared to right now. And that's a serious problem. And as I've said before, the trees have a very important role in nature. So what happens if they're not there to fulfill that role? Obviously, if there are no trees, there's no oxygen to breathe. But aside from that, cutting down trees have other disastrous consequences which could contribute towards global warming. A lot of carbon dioxide is stored inside the trees, and each time a tree is cut down, those gases are released into the atmosphere. The Amazon rainforest alone stores 123 billion tons of carbon dioxide, making it one of the largest carbon storages on the planet. If the Amazon is deforested, those 123 billion tons of CO2 would go into the atmosphere and they would trap sunlight and raise the temperature of the earth. Also, when we deforest an area, the soil which was once protected by the trees will become incredibly vulnerable to the forces of nature. When it rains, that will basically ruin the soil, and that will make it impossible for other plants to grow there in the future. So basically, cutting down an entire forest is the end of the forest, meaning that all animals and other creatures that were living in the forest will lose their habitats. As a result, many of the species which lived among the trees will go extinct. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? In order to solve the problem, the average number of trees being cut down needs to drop dramatically. This cannot go on. We need to restore the forests of the world to their former glory. If you've seen any nature documentaries recently, you probably know how serious the situation has become. While we cannot fix the trees which have been chopped down, we can save the branches and use them to start new trees. Restoring a forest will take time. Hard work and dedication, that's what's needed to save the trees here. And that's why we can't just sit around and wait. We need to take action now, because this isn't just gonna fix overnight. The things need to change now, not just for our sake, but for the sake of future generations as well. There may still be a chance to slow the rate of climate change if we save the trees, and in doing so we could save many species from going extinct. Please, after watching this video, think about what you can do to help save the trees. I've only scratched the surface of the problem at hand, and there are many other things we have to consider and things that are important. I recommend watching some documentaries to learn more about this, or go on some websites to learn more. But I hope you've learned something new from me, and remember that the Earth is our only home and we need to do everything we can to protect it.